Hey everyone, how's it going? So today I thought we would do a Q&A, and it's not a live Q&A. It's basically I've kind of compiled all of the questions that I have been asked by family and friends over the last few months since I got my genetic cancer screening results. And I thought it was really interesting because there are some really big questions here. It's stuff that I have talked somewhat about in my videos, but also I think it's really important to shed light on both sides of the conversation. What I am personally going through and having to wrap my brain around in making this decision, and then the questions that are coming from you, my family and friends and community, around trying to also understand what it's like to make this decision, right? So anyway, I put these together in no specific order and just going to sort of read through them and speak to them. So the first question is, what made you get tested after all this time when you didn't want to? So for those that really know me and know my story, my whole life I lived not wanting to get genetically tested. I was pretty sure I kind of already knew the answer. And with my family history, I was like, I don't need to know that I have a gene, because if I have a gene, then I'm going to be sitting there waiting for cancer to happen. And I just kind of blocked the rest out. I just lived in my fear. And I don't really think that I understood what the options were if you knew, right? So, what made me get tested? Menopause. Thank you very much. At the end of the day, my menopause symptoms started coming on kind of fast and furious. And I wanted to understand if I could do HRT. And my OBG said, not unless you get tested. And really, that's because if we don't know what kind of potential cancer that my family had, right, that my mom had, that her grandmother had, we didn't necessarily want to feed it. So hence me getting tested, right? And then again, to be genetically tested for BRCA1, I think it's like 1% or 2% of the population actually carry the gene. So the likelihood of me actually coming up with the gene when I was first doing it was like, oh, pretty small. Okay, I'll take that risk then. I mean, it doesn't take away from my family history, but I was like, the likelihood of me having the gene is very, very small. But here we are, and I have the fucking gene. So that's what made me get tested. And yeah, the day I heard the results, I was really mad. Like I hung up on my genetic counselor because I was pissed. And hurt and scared and all the things. But so that's why I got tested when I didn't really ever want to. But now I have a very different understanding of that. So that was question number one. Question number two. What made you want to do surgery versus screening? So once you find out you have a genetic mutation, you have a couple of options. For BRCA1, like myself, you can screen, and which means that you go through a roving rotation of MRI every 6 months and then a regular mammogram every 6 months. And you can do that forever if you so choose, or until they find something. Um, or you have the option of doing these prophylactic surgeries like I am doing. The moment I heard that I had a gene, the moment I was able to wrap my brain around what my calculated risk score was, surgery was the only option for me. And that became abundantly clear when, in getting ready for this surgery, um, I had to do a breast MRI, and then my breast MRI popped something in both breasts. And then I had to go back and do an ultrasound. And then I had to have, from the ultrasound, then I had to go and do a MRI biopsy. And then I had to wait for the results. And like that whole process, hell no, hard no. I cannot do that for however many years. They said this in a previous video. Women who do that, balls of steel, right? Vagina of steel, because I am not built for that. I don't want that anxiety in my life. I don't want it in my body. Nope. So surgery is the route for me. Question number two. So question number three, why doing DIEP Flap versus implants? It's a great question. I would love for the process to be easier. because DIEP flap is a really it's the hardest of all the surgeries to do, but for me it is the right decision. DIEP flap for me, when I was looking at all of the options, really just being able to use my own tissue for one, being autoimmune compromised with scleroderma and Lyme. I my body rejected hardware I had in my leg from breaking my leg, right? So implants for me is probably a no. Even if I was able to get them in and get them in successfully, the whole expander process, the whole having foreign objects in my body, that's just not something that I personally want to do. I do not think my body would tolerate it well. So doing DIEP flap was the right decision for me. And I knew that pretty quickly out of the gate. So but yeah, I mean, if you're gonna do it, go big. So that's that question. Why have surgery if you are so scared? Because the fucking idea of cancer scares me more. I don't want cancer. I don't want to go through chemo. I don't want to have to fight for my life. This is my way of fighting for my life and giving myself a chance. Surgery scares me. I don't like it. I don't like being put under. I don't like how long I'm going to be under. Um, I don't like the idea of rearranging my body. I don't. But at the end of the day, surgery is the better option than getting cancer. And that's just kind of the way it is. So yeah, so that's why I'm doing surgery. Um, oh, this one I love. And I was actually asked this a couple of times. So why are you so emotional over this if this is your choice? Well, um, it's complicated. I have a lot of trauma from my mom being diagnosed when I was 8 years old and seeing what she went through. I have watched so many family members I love die of this disease. I am terrified of getting this disease. I don't want to go and have surgery for 9 to 14 hours. I don't want to cut out my body parts and rearrange them. So when you ask why am I so emotional if this is my choice, that's why. Because none of this is fucking easy. And I say that kind of angrily because I know that the people who asked this actually mean well. They're trying to understand me and where I came from, but it's also a little bit like, I get that I'm an emotional person, right? Like, look at my videos, right? I'm either crying or laughing. So, but it is emotional, right? It is, you're giving up your body parts. Like I say this in every single video. I think I cannot stress this enough. You are cutting out your body parts and you are making that choice to save your life. And this is grace and a gift. And I get that, but it is still hard to make that decision. I don't know what I'm going to look like on the other side. I hope that I'm going to be happy with the results. I picked my team because I liked who they are, what they said, how their patients looked post surgery, right? I am banking on all of that, but that doesn't mean that it isn't hard or it isn't emotional. So, yeah. So, yes, it's my choice. And yes, it's really, really emotional. And I hope that you can understand the gravity of the decisions that are being made here. So, there's that. Um, this is the other one that I think is really pretty interesting and kind of goes hand in hand with that. You don't have cancer, so why is this a big deal? It is a big deal because for me, it's not a matter of if, it is a matter of when. And after my biopsy, with them finding things in both breasts, it's really, really clear that my runway is getting shorter, right? I know, and my doctors have told me with a lot of certainty that really this isn't a matter of if, it is a matter of when. And if I can remove that obstacle and make it never, I am going to do that. And so that is what I am doing. So when I am asked, well, I don't have cancer today, why is this a big deal? Because I don't want fucking cancer in the future. I don't want to go through chemo. I don't want to go through radiation, right? This is my way of getting there. So while I don't have cancer today and I am not sick today, I am trying to fortify my future so that I am not sick, so that I do not get cancer. So that's why it's a big deal. Yeah. Um, do I wish that I did this when I was younger, now knowing what I know? 100%. 100%. But here's the thing. I was not ready. I don't think I was ready until now, to be really honest. All my years of therapy, I've been in therapy since my mom died, since I was 19 years old. And even with all of that, I don't think I was in a place where I was ready to know the options. But am I an advocate for it now? Do I advocate for anybody and everybody who's of age, meaning 25 and older, who can get screened with a family history to get tested? 100%. Go do it. I will take you. I will support you. It is so important for you to know your options. So yeah, I really do wish that I did it younger, but here we are. So better late than never. Um, am I scared of the results? So this question was asked to me because so once I have the surgery, they will send off my breast tissue to be fully analyzed, right? So am I scared of what those results are and could they come back with something? I'm fucking terrified. So they could go to pathology and they could come back and they could say that I have stage 0 cancer, precancerous cells within the breast tissue. And I am kind of trying to brace myself for that, given what they found when they did these MRIs, even though the biopsy came back as benign, because I have tissue forming in both breasts. There's a high likelihood of that, right? So then what does that mean? Does it mean that I dodged the bullet? Sort of. Does it mean that I might have to go on tamoxifen or another drug for an extended period of time? Totally possible. Um, so am I scared of those results? Yeah, not looking forward to that. That's another one of those on the edge of your seat waiting, and you just gotta surrender to whatever comes next. But um, yeah, that's a big one. So we're just gonna have to wait to get there. I got to get through the surgery first. Um, so um, I had somebody ask me this question, and I thought it was really interesting, which is, am I going to regret my decision when I get to the other side of surgery? And the answer is, it's complicated. I don't think I am, because here's the thing. I think there's two parts of that. Am I going to regret the decision of having surgery and doing everything I can to save my life? Nope, not at all. I'm 100% on board with that. Am I going to regret my decision and not like the results that I get? That could completely happen, right? I don't have any control over that. I have to rely on my surgical team to give me the best results that they can. And I picked him because I loved the way his results looked. I loved what his patients had to say about him. I loved the fact that most of his patients had sensation in their chest and in their abdomen. So I have to hold on to that, right? That's really all I have. But is it possible that I wake up and I look in the mirror and I don't like what I see? Yeah. Does that scare me? Oh yeah. I mean, that one is really hard, right? So I won't know until I get there, but I'm hoping not, but that's entirely possible. Um, so, and the last question is, how do you screen for results going forward, right? Because with the hysterectomy, once that's all gone, there is no chance of getting ovarian or uterine cancer because those parts are actually gone. Breast cancer, however, because I am keeping my nipples, and because they can't fully 100% remove all the breast tissue, there are small bits that are left behind. Could you still get breast cancer? Yes, you can. But your results or your percentage drops to about under 5%. Um, what, so what happens if I get cancer? Yeah, it would suck after all of this to get cancer. But good news situation is because you have removed the vast majority of the tissue, if cancer were to arise, it would be on the surface and you would find it very, very quickly and very early. So the survival rate with that is much higher. It also means that it hasn't metastasized. It also means that your treatment options go way up. So it would kind of be the best case scenario. Now, I don't want that to happen. I mean, nobody wants that to happen, right? But I think that if it happens, we catch it very early, and it is, like I said, it is the best case scenario. But we're gonna pray that, doing this surgery, like that doesn't happen. So anyway, I just thought some of those questions were really important to just share with people, right? Because I think there's a lot that goes into making these decisions. There's a lot to think about and consider. And this is just not, you know, me at my age, right? Like this is women from the time they're 25 to women who are 65, right? Having these surgeries. I just talked to a woman last week in our support group who was 65 and just had her DIEP flap. And she went in because after screening for, I think she had been screening for, I want to say like 10 or 12 years, had probably the biggest scare. She found a lump. They went in, they did the MRI, they did the biopsy, and it came back benign. But she was like, "Nope, I'm done. They gotta go." And she had had a pretty heavy family history as well. So, um, I just feel fortunate to be able to make this choice. I feel grateful that I don't have cancer today and that I'm going to hopefully be able to prevent it. And I am super grateful for my family and friends and you guys and my tribe who are supporting me through this process because I need that. I need you. um, there's a lot of women out there who do this alone, and I just want everybody to know that like you have choice and you have community, even if we're not there with you, you know, able to hold your hand. There are people out here who understand and know what you're going through. So I don't know, guys, that's my message for today. I just wanted to share the questions and hopefully it helps other people understand the decisions, at least that I made, why I made them, and hopefully help somebody else. I hope you all have a good day. Bye.